Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to carry on with the tune that I was writing yesterday afternoon. That is, which is the second track. Oh, always forget to mute out the computer I'm monitoring it on. There we go, sorted. Okay, so what we were doing yesterday was this tune, which is a lot darker than the other one. I need a little break from the other one. I've worked on it for about 4 days straight, so it's good for me to write something else. And I'll probably come back to it on Monday, do a couple of hours on it, and that's kind of how I work. I do a couple of hours a day per tune. And I'm really up for programming this one at the moment, so I'm going to put my energy into this one. I haven't really done very much at all, done a couple of things, which was move this 303 line I wrote yesterday, which I really liked. I've moved that off. It was too soon in the tune for that. And I made the decision it's going to be the sort of lead into the breakdown, and the first real breakdown is going to happen there. And also I got rid of the open hi-hat and moved that off as well, because at this point I want to put in a snare. I think that will suit better. It'd be more of a kind of nasty groove to get into. I also down-tuned our Dumbeck drums, and the nice thing is if I transposed it here in the track, then I would have be playing completely different things. But if you just hit tune in Contact 5, then it will actually just tune everything down a little bit, which is fantastic. It makes it a lot easier to work with, so that's all good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into I'm going to choose a snare, and there's this really cool little app, if I can remember how to find it, in Reactor, I believe it is, and I think it's called Polyplex, and there it is. It's Polyplex Snare. I'm going to boot that up, and this is a fantastic little synth that allows me to layer up snares. It comes with loads of samples. It will randomize the snare. It will do all sorts of things. It's and for me, what's fantastic is it's even got little libraries. And what I'm looking for is a kind of clap and a snare at the same time. So if I could get that going on, I would be super happy. But I want it in bar 65, so I'm going to jump down there. I'm going to set my markers up. That's way off in the distance. How about that? That'll be fine. That's good. Got that back. I think it'll set to the end. I'm kind of planning out where the tune's going to end. Not in any specific sense, but roughly time-wise, I'm looking at around 8 minutes, I think. Ish. Maybe more, maybe less. You never can tell. Okay, so and I can't remember what MIDI note it's going to be on. That's clearly not a bar. That clearly is. Pitches up and down. That's cool. I didn't know that. And I'm assuming I can make it velocity sensitive. So I'm just going to work with that for a second and get the level roughly right. Just throw that out like that. Apart from the amount of bass it's got, that's probably going to be about right. And it has got a lot too much bass. So just for my own sanity, I'm just going to put on an EQ, because I almost can't mix with it when it's got that much bass. I'll turn that into a shelf EQ to get rid of the rest, so I'll take that a bit lower. Around there. Okay, so let's get going and make a snare. Okay, so the first thing is I want I definitely want a clap. So we'll start like that. And already I kind of like that. Not sure about that sample. And that's kind of got a I'm pretty happy with that. The phone's going, just 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. Okay. Also, the car alarm's going across the road. Fantastic. I kind of like that already. I can control the start time of this snare. You hear it comes in slightly after the event. Or I can control that just by doing that. And I can even give myself a little stereo interest. And probably I don't want even more than that. And you can control various things in here, so you can control the attack, the hold, the decay time, you can control the EQ, all these things. It's fantastic. And down here you can automate anything. So I could automate the amount of low shelf, the amount of low gain, or back in here in the main I could automate the pitch of these samples if I wanted to make that higher. And let's try and find a sample I like for this one. So I'm going to go for One Shot Sounds. I could get anything here. I really like glass in my snares, so I'm going to go for that. But I will need to fill around the envelope to get that right. And that's kind of put in a nice click right at the start. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. That might be a little bit too much high gain. I'm pretty happy with that. And what's nice to do is to also distort our snare. You get some interesting textures with it that way, and have something just a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go for a Guitar Rig 5, and it's nice to use bit crushers and distortion and sample rate reduction with each other. If you can get that sort of in a subtle way, you can sound fantastic. So let's have a go at that. It's going to be distortion is going to be in here. I'm after more amp distortion than metal distortion, but I will put in that. Okay, so that's essentially off. That helps the sounds. So let's get some amplitude modulation going on here. I think probably the Van 51. And with stuff like this, I always go for sort of parallel distortion. That way I can get everything I want of the sounds, alter it, modify it, make it crunchier and more interesting, but without the sort of the overtly guitar amp sounds. So I'll get rid of that. That's the guitar amp. That's the clean sounds. And I'll probably be better putting it the other way around, because of this switch it will invert that signal. You hear how it's almost like EQ? It's also a bit louder. But I love what it's doing to the tail. So I'm going to try and get the tail, but without the attack, which I don't like so much. And for that I need a modifier. There we go, envelope. I'll put that after the bit crusher. So not envelope, I don't mean envelope, I mean input level. I'll put it after the bit crusher. So I'm working with that signal. And I want to attach that. Where am I going to attach that? I know how to do it. I'll use a volume envelope, that'll be a little easier. I'm going to touch the input level to this volume control here. And at the moment that's doing exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. I want to reduce the gain. You hear what it's doing? Let's try and get really dirty with that. Go for something a bit different. Try a different amp, why not? I'm just going to keep on going until I get the sort of sound I'm after. Might try just straight up distortion too. Almost like reverb. I think I might quite like this one. Maybe not. There we go. As always, it's the citrus I come back to. So I really like the effect it's having on the body, but I'm not sure about the tail. But I think I can correct that within here if I reduce the decay on the envelopes a bit. I feel like I'm nearly there, but I'm not quite there yet, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to put in another one of these to try and control the tail of it, to also control the volume knob. No, that's not working. Ooh, I have a really bad habit of doing that. I'll delete that out. If I bounce one of these down, then what I'll be able to do is drag it into an impact, and then I can just directly control the tail of the snare directly, which should be a little bit easier, I think. It'll save a lot of CPU too, as Polyplex is for some reason particularly hard on CPU, and I haven't figured that out at all. But there we go. So I'm going to chop this up. And make sure it doesn't extend there, that's fine. Sometimes you've got to be careful with synths that they'll use delay compensation, plug-in delay compensation, and just slightly overrun the start of the note, and you can clip them if you're not careful. So, but that one's fine. And then I'm just going to jump into this pre-silence tool, go for an impact, and I'm going to drag that sample onto there, which is B0. I can delete that out. That'll be fine, I won't need that again. Remove track. And now I'll put in the MIDI. It was B0, I believe, yeah. Perfect. I normally make them about a 16th. But the one thing I do is turn it onto one-shot poly. So if I want to do a fast drum fill using this snare, which I probably won't, it's a real sort of character snare now. I can easily control that. So let's. And it's just too much tail. It's not way too much tail, but I can control that easily now using the actual amplitude envelope. Hello, Snail Cannon. probably around there. And I got a little bit of a room reverb on that. Okay, so let's see how that plays with our input section. Too loud. Probably like that. And so the next thing I wanted to do, I've kind of got quite a lot of percussive stuff going on there already, but I want to start getting in synth noises. But I'm not going to be programming big repetitive MIDI patches. I'm going to sort of mangle a sample from one synth. And what I thought I might do is jump into Diva, and I'm going to get a digital loss. Our moustaches and soul patches are very nearly identical, mate, just saying. What can I tell you? This is new for me. I had a big bushy beard a month ago, but I kind of like it. I need a bit of a shave. So yeah, I'm going to go for a detuned saw thing, just using this sort of Roland simulation with the filter completely open. And the amp pretty much instant attack and no real release. Just get a couple of bars of detuned saw, which will be down here. I'm going to solo that out. I'm going to import the mix down too. I'll get 4 bars, that's plenty. And then I'm going to use a granular resynthesis machine, Falcon, to mangle it. And I'm going to go low, which will give me more top end to work with. And I actually want that kind of hard sound that they're both starting from the same gate time. Normally I don't want that, but in this case I do. I'm going to move it higher. And I want it more detuned. I want it quite detuned. That's too much. I want it on the edge of sounding like it's 2 different notes. I think that'll be about right. See if I can get a filter which shows it off slightly better. Perfect. So I'm going to bounce that out. That should be plenty. Export mix down. Import to track, perfect. Clipping, bogged down. Yeah, we're going to have to try that one again. Hopefully that'll be fine. I'm glad you like it. There we go. So I've got my sounds. I'm going to remove the track and instrument. Yeah, I see. It's because of the phasing of the two things. And I want to make sure that's in the pool. Can't remember how to do that. There we go, mix down 3 I think it is. No, surely not. Maybe. Let's play it. Yeah, it is. It's mixed down 3. Okay, so now I know where it is on the hard drive. I'm going to mute that out. And I'm going to manipulate this sample. So that's just for my record now, really. I can actually delete it. It's in the pool, so it's not a problem. Remove track. See, it's still there in the pool. That's fine. I'll come back around to instruments. I'm going to load in a Falcon. And I'm going to start making patches out of that. So it's a nice long sample, so I can manipulate it quite easily in time. And I can make pad noises out of it, all sorts. Jump down here, open up my hard drive. I'm going to go for Documents, Studio One, and then in here, Songs. Mix down, and it's mixed down 3. Oh, but of course I need to actually put in what I need. Hey Smokey, yeah, I used to be a DJ too. I gave up on that. I found I much preferred writing tunes to mixing them. But it's a hell of a lot of fun. Add key group. And then a multi-granular. I'm going to drop that sample in. So now, in my granular resynthesis engine, I have... I bet Smokey has some stories to tell. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. So in my granular resynthesis engine, I have this saw wave pad. I'm going to chuck up the voices on that, and I should, in theory, be able to play it pretty much anywhere. I'm not looking for sort of anything in particular. There we go. So it's on C3. That's perfect. I can make any kind of wave. Let's start as it's meant to be. Let's take it easy to start with. Well, something like that. And I'm going to go for this 2-bar thing, and I'm going to do some pretty crazy stuff with this, I hope. And you hear it's the same every time, which is good. I'm going to use that. Ooh. I didn't do that. That's better. So I can modulate the pitch. Let's add some modulation. I'll go into the key group. I'm going to put on an ADSR. I'm not really doing what I thought I was going to do. Let's remove that for a second. Interesting. That's not doing quite what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to make a pad out of this instead, see if I can get that to work a little more effectively. I'm going to chuck up the release and make the attack longer. And now I'm going to slow down the speeds completely. I can put in some pitch variation, some jitter. All these little bits of variation we're going to put in. I'm going to add modulation, and I'm going to use that envelope I put in. Let's see how that sounds. That'll be my CPU. Let me jump in there and sort that out. If I take off the... There we go. Should be back in business now. Let's see how that sounds. I'm not feeling that. I'm just going to do things the more old-fashioned way with when you're checking the instrument. Let me go over Diva. I'm going to do no, I'll use a massive. I want to make kind of like a almost like a hard house Hoover, if you know what I mean. But it can be difficult to get going on. Well, it's not really. But I kind of want one of them. And then I want to use distortion. So because of what I've done in the first place, where I've made all these crazy little fills out of single percussive elements, I'm kind of keen to try and continue that with the melodic elements as I bring them in. So all this stuff here, I want to do the same with a synth sample effectively. Oh, that's something I thought. I thought it'd be nice to have just the same as I did with that as well. I thought it'd be nice to have a little filter in here, gradually sweeping up. So let's get that going on. Also filter. I'll change that to 0. I'll switch this over to high pass. I'm going to leave that as completely down to start with. I'll add automation. Show hide automation. Add remove. Inserts, auto filter, filter, cut off, close, and gradually over time I'm just going to open this up and probably around there. anything I wanted to open up faster, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put in a little bit of resonance as well, because it's not particularly audible. Oh, it's got some resonance. Damn. Well, let's see if opening it up faster made a difference. That's better. And I think I'll extend it out now that I've changed the cutoff. I might keep the cutoff moving up. Show hide automation again. Okay, that's good. I can work with that now. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I think that'll be enough of that, definitely by that point. Show hide automation. And I'm just going to keep on slowly moving that up. And it's going to be pretty much gone by the time I get to 10 hertz, 10 kilohertz. I think that'll be enough. Yeah, I think that improves the part. So let's get a kind of Hoovery sound going on. So the big part of Hoover sounds is the unison and the oscillator reset. They're typically saw sounds, although you do get some square waves, and they're typically quite distorted. And there's normally some filter movement. So this is quite a good synth because it's got a lot of envelopes, and they're sort of crude envelope sounds. And they're not typically, what I normally do with unison is spread it in the stereo spectrum, but they're not done that way. It's more like this. And that's, horrendous as that sounds, that is exactly the kind of thing I'm going for. I haven't smoked weed for a long time. I dare not. Bad things happen when I smoke weed. But I still love writing tunes and I love listening to them. Memory is a wonderful thing in my case. That's kind of getting there. It's too much release. I'm not looking for a release sound at all. There we go. That's the sort of sound I've been after. So let's extend that out a bit. And I'm going to want in there some filtering. I quite like to have a high pass filter that opened up as I go through the sound. So I'm going to use another envelope for that. I think probably something like that. Could actually open up more. Definitely, I'm going to save that preset too, because that is a sort of a classic An absolutely classic Hoover sound. So Hoover, high pass. But for my purposes, as I want to affect this Hoover signal, I'm actually going to turn off the high pass filter. And everything I'm going to do in the sequencer. So I'm going to bounce that out. Let's try working with that, because this is the sound I was trying to get using the that saw wave in. God damn, more clipping. This is the sound I was trying to get in Falcon. Transform that back to an instrument track. Massive. Okay. Right. That should be a bit better now. So I'll normalise that audio. Okay. Duplicate it out so I got a copy of the audio. And shove it off over there. And now I'm going to enable event effects on this track. And basically go nuts. First things first, I'm going to slap in a guitar rig. I'm going to make this as nasty as I can while still maintaining the feel that it's that Hoover, that classic Hoover sound. So, fast compression, I'll have some of that. That immediately makes it horrible, which is perfect. Bit of a rectified distortion. That's a little much, but not crazily. I think if I make that as a kind of parallel distortion, that could really work. I think I just like it full distortion. Then let's go for a bit of lo-fi. Turn all that off. Spread. That's nasty. Let's try putting it before the distortion. My shot glass is empty because it's for donations, if anyone should feel like donating. Which is certainly not compulsory. So what happens is if people donate to the channel, then it fills up with bits or coins or whatever. But it's I'd be doing this whether I was getting paid or not. Guitar rig is incredible. There we go. I plugged that in beforehand. Ooh. Didn't mean to get rid of it. I'm going to use this high pass filter to control the effect of the distortion slightly. There's no need. That's pretty gnarly now. Let's have a little listen. It's way too loud, but and let's get a delay on there. So all of this is just on this single event, and it won't affect anything else on the channel, which is fantastic. It gives me so many creative options being able to do that. That's a little too slow. That's a little too fast. Maybe about there. Yeah, I think you're right about using the noise separately. This is like very clearly super distorted now. The door, how much was it? It's Studio One. I think it was around. I bought it over a year and a half ago now. I can't remember. It's about 300. It's either 200 or 300. It's in that region, 200 to 300. So it's about the same price as for other things or lesser versions of other doors, but this was like the full door, the whole shebang. And I know they're super good with updates and things like that, so I thought, I love the door, why not? It's like mini Cubase, it's superb. Let's transform that to rendered audio and hope that it doesn't clip. It probably will. What I should do is, if I was working with 32-bit, then this wouldn't be a problem at all, but I'm not. Render. Oh no, I need to set the tail time on that. $300 UK pounds is probably at the moment about 300 UK dollars, 300 US dollars. That doesn't make sense. What did I just render? How can that make sense? I didn't render it. That's weird. Yeah, the exchange rate is appalling because ever since the EU referendum vote, which I'm not going to discuss, but ever since that vote, the value of the pound has plummeted. So really, there's not a lot of difference in practical terms between the value of the pound and the US dollar at the moment. That is one very gnarly sound. Let's put it there. And definitely, I think you're 100% right to be concerned that it's almost unrecognisable. So this one, I'm going to make that have a high pass filter on it, which I have to do in the channel, unfortunately. As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong. Keep the resonance pretty high. I'm going to go from about 200 Hz up, I think. That should be okay. Child automation. Add remove, inserts, filter. Cut off. Add that. And really simply, I'm just going to filter up through that sound to about, I think that'll be pretty clear. Ooh. Maybe turn that resonance down. Still sounds super crispy. It's clipping, that's why. Child automation. I'm going to reduce the gain on the actual clip. think the auto filter is actually, the model of filter I've used is actually increasing the gain. So I'm going to go for digital. That's a bit better behaved. And then I'm going to put an analog delay on that. There you go. Now after you've put in, after you filter in exchange rates, so they're not going to change your money for free, you'll find that you get surprisingly close. And I believe that PreSonus is an American company, so you probably wouldn't have to do any of that. All which leads me to believe that you could get Studio One for not a particularly different amount of USD to GBP. I don't like that auto filter effect at all. I'm going to put some more stuff on here. I think Guitar Rig. I want chorus maybe. Probably like that. Oh, but I should duplicate that off. Ooh. And get rid of the guitar rig on that one. And I should not thinking straight about how I'm setting up the effects here. So I'm going to drop that analog delay in there, then remove it off the channel, otherwise it affects both of them. And the same with the EQ, because I don't need that Pro EQ on the second one. The distortion took care of it. I'm going to put in pads in the background. They're going to be sort of glassy pads. It's quite a big volume differential. And then I think reverb as well definitely needs to be sat in the mix. A sound that crunchy. I don't know Bob Ross. I've had my head stuck in a psychedelic trance sequence for the last 20 years, but I'm glad you like the explanations. Oh no, I see what you mean. Now I know who you mean. You mean Bob Ross the artist. Yeah, that's not bad. I'll take that. Oh, that's an error. God damn it. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, so I'm going to open up Falcon again now. I'll mute that one. We don't get Bob Ross in this country. A lot of UK guys wouldn't understand that at all. In the UK, that would be Tony Hart. Bob Ross had like nice hair though. I'm a little bit closer crop than Bob Ross. In fact, why don't I go for a preset? I wonder if I can get an extreme effects preset. Sub and drones. You wanted a drone, so we're going to go for edge drones. That sounds interesting. Drone machinery. Distant heavy machinery. Let's go for that, shall we? That's a superb haircut. What more could a man want? I can definitely work with the sound like that. That is dark o'clock right there. Bit of the old Pro EQ. I don't want a lot of bottom ends. It will just confuse the bass line and the kick drum. Normally around there is right, but it does depend on the sound. And I wonder if they put any no, they haven't put anything in. Okay. No effects of any sort on there, so I'm going to put on a filter which opens up. Just a nice simple filter. I'm glad you have a spirit animal now. That's superb. Add modulation. Assigned to host automation. That's what I want to do. So there we go. That's now assigned to host automation. And I should be able to see that down here. I haven't got a bald spot. I'm thinning slightly. But that's it. No bald spot. At least that's what I'm saying. That's my story. There we go, cut off. Add. I'll add that in. And that should now just open as I play the this patch. Let's have a listen. Still, I think I need a little bit more EQ on there. Let's have a listen to the actual whole thing, like just that patch. That's pretty good. Now I'll jump back into the synth and try and get some modulation going on to make it sound slightly more interesting. That's an amazing sample. I'll add an envelope to that. Oh no, it says it's got a pitch envelope. There we go, it's just not set up. I wouldn't call that set up particularly well. that's good. I can go with that. I'm going to put a delay on there. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, same name. If you click underneath the video you're watching, if you go down a bit, you'll see there's a link to it. Perfect. I can render that out, I think. Ideal. Let's listen to that in context. Still a lot of bass in that sounds. Surprised how much EQ I have to apply to some sounds. You think you've tamed them and they just keep on coming back. Thing like that, and I'm going to get a load of that long reverb for that sound. You almost can't put on too much reverb on a sound like that. I think that would be about right. I want a delay on that sound though. Wow. I kind of have everything on that sound already. I thought it would sound wider. Sometimes you just can't tell. I'm going to put a little fill there. So I'm going to cut out the bass. And then keep on going. So this will be kind of a new section, but we're going to be keeping ideas from this last section. Oh, I think I confused it. There we go. I have send channels. I generally tend not to use delays on send channels, which I know is a bit unusual, but I tend to just use reverbs, and I tend to take them off when I come to mix down and set individual reverbs and delays on everything. I'm not sure I'll be able to demonstrate mixing down particularly effectively on stream because I'm listening through these, but generally I don't use delays on send channels. What I'll do if I want a delay like that is I'll open up Guitar Rig and have it on the split and send it through one and not the other. Or the other thing you can do in Studio One is if I open up this Pro Queue, you can jump around here, and up here you have the ability to put in parallel processing, and you can do things like that. So that's how I tend to do that kind of delay, if that makes sense. I'm pretty happy with that sound now though. Do you mean the pad noise? Do you mean yeah. I think the that pad noise might also benefit from a bit of the old sidechain compression. That's right, they're coming from here. Right, let me try that again. I'm going to try and get the sidechain compressor working this time. I always work on the time, so it sounds like garbage to begin with. And now I set the ratio. Now you didn't miss anything. We're all good. Still just a little much. I want a cymbal crash there. Where was my cymbal crash? There it is. Okay, just going to go to the restroom. 2 seconds. Oh, I'm going to have to make a cup of tea too. I think at this point I'm going to want to get in some more percussion, probably some toms, something strange. I might try and do something else strange. But that's probably a good point. Because I've done all this work with the percussive parts in here, it's quite easy for me to just drag something earlier and just reference it back. So I'm thinking probably one of these. I haven't used them for a while. There's probably something down here I could get hold of. Who knows? What does it sound like there? Let's have that one. So I'm into this section here. I'm just going to drop the marker here and place it. I'm going to chop it, this piece of audio up. Damn it. Cool. Not a bad plan. By the one little green bastard, you mean this one? Absolutely. I'll just click restore, and that will call back whatever it was I had, and I can take out any of these effects. I can put more effects on, anything I want. So that's the advantage of the way I'm working here. So what I've seen said about Studio One is that it doesn't have offline processing, and that's an incredibly powerful feature of Cubase, is that it's got this ability to take a snippet of audio and apply processing, and then take audio, the processing out in sequence. From like, so you've got like a list of effects you put in, and you can take one of them out, and it'll just recalculate everything automatically. You kind of do have it in Studio One, and it's here. It's Event Effects. You just have to click restore and render manually. That's the difference. Essentially, it does have it. I saved. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Left the central heating on last night. I've got dreadful sinuses. Not good. It's not as good as Ableton. It saves constantly. It's an option in here somewhere. So every 5 minutes, you can choose how often it saves. Unlike Ableton, which will sort of build up a history of exactly what you've done, this saves every 5 minutes automatically. It doesn't crash very much, which is a good thing, but it's not as good as Ableton. Ableton is sort of bulletproof in that regard. Yeah, I used to use Ableton a lot. It's a fantastic piece of software, especially for collaborating. But I found that I could do more faster in this. That's just me. Okay, so I'm going to jump down here again, and I'm going to open up another Falcon. I feel like playing with Falcon presets this morning for some reason. Fiddling around with them, making my own things. Science fiction's always fun. Lasers and guns could really work. Lasers. Or slow motion. Motion gun. What's that all about? We shall find out. Let's make a sound out of the sound. I need something here. No, let's listen to the whole section. I'm losing my overview of what the hell I'm doing. I definitely need something there. Oh no, actually, I have a plan. I have a plan about what I'm going to do. I want that noise again, but I'm going to completely change the processing on it. I'm going to jump into Guitar Rig here. And I'm going to really push this sound away. So it's almost like an echo of something you heard. I'm going to want a filter. That'll be lovely. Put that slope up so it's pretty noticeable. Let's have a listen to how that sounds. Just going to solo this out. Okay, and that's good. And now I'm going to open up a reverb. And I want a big old reverb on this. So I'm going to go for a cathedral. And my favourite cathedral in here sort of varies between these three really. But I think probably that one will be good. Let's listen. Yeah, the way it handles effects is super nice. But it's also, I have to say, it's also because of Guitar Rig. Guitar Rig is so ridiculously powerful, I don't even know where to begin. Let's listen to that with everything else going on. And I just wonder if I can time stretch. I don't want that on drum time stretch. I want that on... We'll go with that elastic proformal. And then I'm going to transpose that down an octave. Now that sounds like an echo. That's a hardcore nasty right there. That's going to need a bit of a tail. I'm not convinced it actually needs the delay. Yeah, actually it does. Okay, so I'm going to render that out. I need a long tail on that sound and render. And at 81, I'm going to... Damn it. 81, I'm going to sort of fade the whole thing out. So I'm going to set that pretty much like that, I think. And the fill will hide the fact I've faded out quickly. Yeah, now that is what I'm talking about. Now, we never actually figured out what kind of noise I loaded up in Falcon here, so I think probably 73 is now a better place for this noise, whatever it is. Or maybe not, maybe it's useless. We don't know yet. Not that sound. That's not the kind of thing I'm after. Let's go for lasers. Ooh, there's bass on that at the start. Bass and distortion. Ooh. That's just a pretty normal FM sweep. I'm not sold on that one. Ooh, God. Colour me moderately unimpressed with these. What about the factory library? I can use that. It's a bit fluffy at the moment. I can make that something quite different with a little manipulation. I'm going to go for the whole 8 bars and make this gradually build up. Speed I want all the way down. And I'm going to clear all the modulation off that. I'm going to do everything using position. I'm going to clear the modulation off that. And now we're going to set up an envelope. There we go. It's just a case of getting this all the way. I have a MIDI controller, but it's upstairs. It needs a new USB cable. You never guess that I'm actually like pretty good at. Well, I say pretty good. That's a little optimistic, but I'm by no means the worst pianist I've ever heard. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. That's more like it. Okay. And it is super easy to set up with Studio One, if you're wondering. Super, super easy. Okay, so now I need to put on some effects. Now you know what? I think it is a bit fluffy. Try something else. I'm just not hitting my stride here. Special effects. Delete. Retrack an instrument. I'm not feeling that. I think we're good. I think that section works. So, I still have to build towards what I've got going on at 129. The old acids. Just gonna have a little listen to it to remind me of what I'm heading towards. There we go. So I've got to bear this in mind as I head towards it. And that's definitely chirpier, it's happier. How much time from beginning to now? You mean how long's it taken to write? Well, 31 to 81 has taken 3.5 hours. Including writing this acid line, which isn't in yet. So all of that from here. So that is literally the start. I want it to open like that. And I think now I have a noise that I can put in. No, I don't actually want it at 17, I want it at probably 19. See, now I can start building my introduction out of elements that I've composed later on. 3.5 hours. I'm going to jump around to the channel and put a filter on that, and I think we can actually start getting the introduction sorted. Properly sorted. I use my own filter for this. I forgot about that. What did I call it? Very simple filter. Perfect. That green bastard. Yeah, I can take that back to an instrument. I just go transform to instrument track, and it will come back. Falcon will come back with the preset saved as it was. So that is freeze what I've done with that, and it will copy the MIDI notes. So that green line there, you see. I'll zoom it out. That green line there, even though I only wrote one MIDI note and then duplicated this, it recognises that to get that sound, I have to play the same MIDI note. And it will, if I unfreeze it, it will move that MIDI note, it will duplicate the MIDI note as well, so I get the same thing out of the synth. Yeah. I've literally just frozen that. That's all that is. Impact, I want that above the high pass filter on the channel. And I want to set up automation. Add remove, audio, insert, F6, add, and then close. And something like that. Where's that bar? Too many parts called Falcon 1, it's confusing. I want a filter on that, Steve. Damn it. I think now what I'm going to do is move this part backwards. So I was wondering how to make this work. But I think if I put it there, that will actually help us in our introduction. I just delete that out. And maybe add in some of the old delay, because it's just really a wall of noise we're talking about. That's ominous. So really the question now is whether I build or come back down slightly. I feel like I need an actual lead at this point, or to develop more leads, and I could come back down slightly. For this 16 bars here, I'm going to want the kick in the bass obviously, so I'm going to copy that out. But I feel pretty much like bars 31 to 81 are done. I don't think I need to go back into that too much. Maybe just for sort of 17 to 33, I think I need to work on a little bit, but not hugely. Hi, Rib Dream. And why don't we take you? Bit of the old ultra nasty. So at 25 we can go for that 29 even, we can go for that horrendously pitched down evil thing we did. Yeah, I'm going to be doing things with drum beats that are crazy, but I've got to start bringing in melodic elements at this point. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get. I'm not going to be able to get to the acid line, and I really want to use the acid line. The acid line sounds fantastic when you've got a beat behind it. So we're going to sort of almost not far off acid techno territory in. We've got 48 bars to get from this to acid techno, is the way I see it. Now obviously I'm not going to just have that, but that's where I'm heading, and pretty fast. This was the snare, wasn't it? I need to move that. That's in a stupid place. I'm going to lose it. And the snare's going to keep on going through there. Let's try the snare with the techno. I haven't tried that yet. That's going to be fine. The snare, I feel I could almost sort of notch some of that out. There's quite a lot of middle crunch in it. There it is. I'd rather keep it on a cheaper EQ. That's a bit better. Acid and bees. That's full on acid. Not bad for a homebrew. Thank you, Rip. If you want to know where I get my inspiration from for my acid lines, if you like acid lines, then someone I'd recommend you check out would be someone called Captain Tinrib, who was a label head of a record company called Tinrib Records, which is a sort of a UK hard house label from about 2000. They're fantastic. He put out more sick filth than I care to mention. Just acid line after acid line, and Wicked Hoover after Wicked Hoover. Um, the guy knew how to program acid lines. Also, one of my all-time favourite trance artists, hard trance, hard house artists, is on there. A guy called Weirdo. If you check out his first album called "I'm in Touch with Your Worlds," I write psychedelic trance. I'm kind of more underground than those guys, but I think their music is fucking psychedelic as fuck. So yeah, check out Tinrib Records, particularly Captain Tinrib and Weirdo, for some of the best acid lines you will ever hear in your life. I take direct inspiration from their stuff. It's incredible. Yeah, no problem. I'll write it down now. Oh, we've got Twitch Inception here. My eyes, my eyes. Um, uh, Omega 3 subsonic. There we go. What the fuck? There we go. Yeah, no problem. Enjoy the Captain Zero at the fridge. I think I can't remember. It's something like sushi. It's an hour-long DJ mix. It's just, and you'll see what I mean. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic stuff. Okay. I need to get a lead going. So I'm going to put in a diva, I think, and try to program a lead. It doesn't need to be like a big leader, but I need some kind of lead at this point. It's getting a really long time without a focus for the tune. How far in are we? So this is now, considering we're going from bar 17, we're now 2 minutes into the tune. We start at, so it's a minute and a half basically into the tune, and we haven't had a proper hook yet. So definitely something needs to, I need to get hold of their attention somehow. Yeah, that's the one. Do we have any pirates in the house? The best I don't know if you know Red Dwarf. There's this fantastic thing on one of their mix CDs where it goes, "Smoke me a kipper, skipper." He's obsessed with fish. I don't know why. Yeah, amazing, legendary hard house act in the UK. I think he's in Australia now. I don't think he tours anymore. I think he's sort of retired. The guy's a legend. Only on an E flat, not F. Let's just work on the synth patch. Yeah, I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on as something different. I'm not on as Vesius. I am on as that. Yeah, it is whoa. That's quite loud. Cheers, thank you. Yeah, trying to find decent stuff on record is difficult. I have to go to London, which is a fair way for me to get anything like decent records. Try a different oscillator. In fact, let's try a different synth. I want something a bit more digital. I'll go for massive. It's going to be a replace. Nice and easy. Yeah, I finished metal. Hey, yeah, I know the feeling. It's not like Finland, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to Finland, but I imagine it's kind of yeah. Most of the record shops here in the UK are gone, which is a shame. Every town used to have like a pretty big record shop, but now they're gone. They're gone. It's vanished completely. You're lucky even if they sell metal. In terms of dance music, I really have to go to London to even begin. And I haven't been for a long time because most of the record shops there have shut down. It's all online now, which is, I think, a real shame. But there we go. I used to love going up to London. I used to go to Camden record shops all the time. Where is it? Bit chirpy at the moment, but I can soon fix that. I'll delete all that. Sounds like a guitar. Getting there. Yeah. I would take a trip. Berlin is definitely the place. Starting to get there now with the sounds. Let's see how that sounds. Whoa. Let's see how we get into it. Might be a bit too much though, but I quite like the patch. That's just too much. It's not so much bad as just too much. I quite like the patch. Looking for something more, less obviously melodic and more rhythmic. So all these octave jumps have to go. That's definitely good. I'll take that. Still not thrilled with the actual notes of this. It's a little bit sort of mucky. That's better. Better now. A few more effects. I've sketched it out a bit too much. Let's try a little transient master on that, I think. This is the problem, you get locked into it. But I'm going to stop for a break in a minute or two anyway. And I'm not sure about the Dumbeck now. Just cut that out. And I would totally, well, I know. I'll leave that for next time. I'm going to take a break. I'll probably be back a little bit after lunch. Maybe I won't do music. Maybe I'll stream some gaming or something like that. Give my ears a break. It's been a long week. Thank you for watching this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure some of you did from what I'm reading. I hope my links to Hard House are useful for you. Classic Hard House, you can't go wrong. Take it easy. I shall be back on Monday streaming from 9 to 11 throughout the week. Have a great weekend, everyone, and take care. See you all soon. Thanks a lot.